you ever just get burnt out? You ever work too hard? Not me, he says at 4 a.m. Well, you could just sit and relax and watch a nice movie, but we're board gamers, so we need to board game all the time. And that's what this list is about. We are facing off the top 32 or 31, some number of them, of the best games when your brain is fried, that you just can't think about anything. You can't crunch those numbers. In this room and board death match, it is a March Madness style bracket where only one game can emerge victorious, and you, that's right, you, good viewer, get to predict down below, and you get to be wrong. These, right here. Ah! You tell I'm overtired? Yeah. These are the games floating by my face. These are the candidates that are going to be taking place in this room and board death match. They are the ones that were nominated by the Room and Board Patreon community, and then we were voting every day over on Discord throughout the month of April until we crowned one game that emerged victorious over all the rest. One game, when you're suffering from burnout, this is the game to come to your aid. And we're going to get into the games right now, but before we do, make your pick down below, get your prediction down there. Which of these games do you think is going to win? And drop in the comments your own games that you play when you're just feeling too fried to do anything else. It's been 2.5 years. You know how this works. Let's get it started with our first matchup, the Unlock series taking on 6 nimmt. I mean, this is 6 nimmt 25 Jahr, and I don't know what the difference is between that and 6 nimmt. It's take 5, but it's 6 nimmt. We're going to talk about that in a second. You know probably the Unlock Adventures game. If you don't, these are escape rooms in a box. These will guide you along a one-shot adventure using an app, allowing you to go on a mystery, solving everything that you can. You'll take these cards, the cards will be red and green and blue, and you'll combine cards and you have to find the other number, and hopefully you've combined them in the right way. If you have a key and there's a lock, you take the key and you put it into lock, you add those numbers together, and then the door will open, and you'll progress through that in a series of puzzles. They're always unique, always pretty fun, and they're always has a little unique twist on it. They've been going on for a long time, and then once upon a time, they started smashing 3 of them together into more of a bigger box package, and I think that was the right call, because it gives you 3 goes, and then you can give it to somebody else. Sell it, give it to your friends. I've gotten countless of these gifted and re-gifted over the years. A super solid time, and it just takes 60 minutes. No real setup, you just have a deck of cards, done. However, 6 nimmt also doesn't take a lot of setup. You can play this on Board Game Arena. The goal of 6 nimmt is to not get any cards, not to get any points. You're going to be playing cards in a row. This isn't the real 6 nimmt. I need the one that has the weird Korean phrase on the back of it. I guess it's just take 5. Okay, there's one copy. If you're going to Origins, because Origins is coming up. I'm not going to Origins. I'm going to Geekway to the West and KubbleCon, so hang out with me there if you're going to those conventions. But if you're going to Origins, take out 6 nimmt from their library and look on the back of the box, and it'll say something like, God will forgive you, but I won't. It's something along those lines. I'm not going to forgive you, and your friends won't forgive you for not playing 6 nimmt with them. You'll simultaneously choose a card to reveal and put into a row, and that simultaneous action is very important because you might be hedging your bets thinking nobody's going to go into that row and somebody might go in, and if you add more than 6 cards or 5 cards, you have to take the whole stack, and you want to get the lowest number possible, the lowest number of points possible. It's really solid, and it's on Board Game Arena. I honestly think 6 nimmt should have won here. It's a really, really solid card game with just flipping up a card, seeing where you go in. There's not too much to consider, but there's a nice little tension there. The Unlock games, sometimes they're too clever for my dumb little head, and I don't want to hit the clue button. I just want to go to sleep. I think 6 nimmt should have won, and so therefore it is Unlock that moves forward in a really, really dominant, overwhelming, like 22-5 vote. Sorry, 22-6. How fitting. How fitting, nimmt. How, oh, you nimmt. Moving along, we've got Pandemic Hot Zone North America taking on the French Quarter. Now, Pandemic Hot Zone is sort of Pandemic Light. Even more Pandemic Light than Forbidden Island. You can see the comparison of just the United States hot zone board versus the larger world board. Contrary to popular belief, and those who live in North America does not take up the entire world, but it's essentially a shorter, more portable version of Pandemic. You can take it places. You only have to cure 3 different diseases instead of 4, which is good because I've said this once and I'll say it again. I am constantly riddled with diseases, and curing 3 of them just feels a lot better than having to cure 4 of them. And it's a similar flow. You'll take your actions on your turn. You'll try to deal with the crises that come up. And oh my god, that is not something that you want to see. That is not a thing that should be happening. This is a horrible, horrible situation. Let's talk about French Quarter instead. French Quarter is a roll and write where you'll have a number of different things that you can do in the city, a number of different methods of transportation that you can do in the city. You'll roll a bunch of dice, and then you all have to pick the dice and their efficacy of how you navigate the French Quarter. You're trying to see the most stuff. So that gives you a different variability of how much you're going to move, how you're going to move, and also wherever you land on the map, you have to add the number of whatever dice you picked. And the key to that is that because in the French Quarter, everybody wants to be unified, or at least pretty close, you also need the surrounding buildings to be the same number or one different. And so that means you're going to be moving back and forth, going up and down, trying to plot out the French Quarter the most effectively, as effectively that you can. I think both of these are pretty good. I think Pandemic kind of gets a bit of a bump here because of the familiarity. And if you take the familiarity and scale that down, there's a good chance that you can play it pretty quickly, easy. I love the portability of it. I also think that roll and writes are generally pretty relaxing. Although there is a lot of math associated with roll and write sometimes if you want to be competitive, but because you're writing things down, it feels so impermanent. Your choices don't really seem to matter as much. And so I do like a good roll and write play for this category. This was a close vote, honestly. It was 10 to 11 when I checked the votes now. I probably personally would have picked Pandemic just because it is simple. But there were some dice of chaos that fell in the French Quarter's favor, and it is French Quarter that moves on in a 15 to 11 vote. Next up, we have On the Rocks taking on Next Station London. Now, On the Rocks, this is one of my favorite descriptions. Welcome to On the Rocks. It's a marble drafting cocktail recipe fulfillment game that's not a drinking game. Please, please do not drink anything while you play this game. This is not a drinking game, people. This is a hardcore strategy game that you can play if you're suffering from burnout. This kind of reminds me, it's another 25th century game. This kind of reminds me a bit of Distilled. You're going to be taking ingredients that you need to fill your cocktails. There's going to be a list of cocktail recipes, and you're going to take it and you're going to shake it all up, and you're going to spit it all out into your drink and hope that you make the correct drink. The thing is that you're taking from those little, the little jiggers in the center of the table, like the shot glasses that you've mixed some stuff up in. So there's a way of drafting those marbles, making them go one at a time into a bowl, and then trying to take the best bowl that'll suit your cocktail. First person to complete 3 orders wins. It's taking on Next Station London. Now there's a bunch of Next Station. There's Next Station Tokyo, and there's also Next Station, I don't know what it's called, Dirty Busy Toronto. No, Next Station Paris. That one's coming out this year, I suppose, 2024. But we're going to talk about Next Station London because it was the first one of this genre. The City of London has commissioned you to redesign its underground. It's another little roll and write. You're going to be drawing cards, and you'll want to be connecting the tubes as effectively as possible, depending upon what you draw. You want to optimize tourist sites. You can see here on the back of the box, boom. You've been hired to redesign the City of London. You reveal the next station, create a new railway station. You optimize the number of districts you connect, creating tourist blocks, making it people excited to go on the subway, and try to score the most points for your line. You've got 4 lines that you can make before the game is over. Comes in a really nice little box, magnetic. Between these two, I think I'd opt for On the Rocks, probably. On the Rocks was leading 11 to 8 before madness happened. There's always some dice of chaos. If people are unsure about which game to win, they might want to burn them both. They might want to do a random vote. They might want to let me decide. with a random abacus rule that changes depending upon, well, when somebody calls it out, then it changes again, calls it out correctly. But when all was said and done, On the Rocks was leading, and then it continues to lead, and it moves forward in a 16-8 vote. I agree with that. I think just, the fun of putting marbles into a drink rather than having to plan out your routes feels a little bit more relaxing and more recovery from burnout for me. Next up, we have Arkham Noir, which is a series of games. This is a solo-only card game as Howard Lovecraft solve the mystery before time runs out and you go insane, taking on Birds of a Feather. With Arkham Noir, you have to create these lines of investigation. There are 5 puzzles that you have to create. You can see how these symbols sort of match together, and you're creating lines in order to connect into a puzzle card. Or maybe I just made that up because I'm not a solo player and I've never played this game. Could be that. But Birds of a Feather, on the other hand, is sort of an action-following game. Birds of a Feather has this idea of when you play a card, you mark off that little habitat on your own score sheet. And then when you play your next card, you mark off whatever was played, plus anything that happened previously. So you have to choose, am I going to follow what's happened? Am I going to set myself up for more points? So if I played a circle bird, for example, and then next time I played another circle bird, I'd get 2 points because there was a circle bird played previously by me. But if you also played a circle bird in the first one, well, then it's my second one gets me 3 points, right? They all kind of chain together. Now, they're not circles. They're these other different colors. But you just go through trying to play cards, scoring points for what happened currently and in that one round in the past. I'm kind of man both of these. I think Birds of the Feather sounds more relaxing. Personally, I think it sounds a lot more brainless rather than trying to solve a mystery. But it is Arkham Horror. Nope, it's Arkham Noir that moves forward in a 14-12 vote. Next up, we have Dandelions versus ICECOOL. I think this is a pretty good matchup between these two. Dandelions is from, as you can see down here, BoardGameTables.com. Also known as All Play. I'm obsessed that the profile of this is still BoardGameTables.com. Oh, that makes me so happy. You're going to roll your 11 dice, and then you're going to float around the board. That's it. But you're going to choose one of those dice, and you're going to move. But you have 11 options to choose from, and then you have 10, and then you have 9. And when all your options are done, the game's over. You want to time out where you land. Wherever you land, you can accrue, you can float, you can blow, you can do what, it doesn't matter. You're just getting points depending upon where you land and how you time things out, on jumping over the other fellow dandelions and trying to rush ahead and not making sure that you set yourself up. There are so many dice that you don't really have to worry about. Yeah, that many. You don't really have to worry about what's going on. You just kind of do your best. And what, kids? Forget the rest. We're also looking at ICECOOL, which is a flicking game that I've always wanted to try. I think it looks pretty fun that you can flick these little penguins around the school, getting from one room to another, flicking them over walls or into other areas, trying to, I don't even know what you're doing. You're just flicking them and you're having a good time. Hopefully that applies to everyone. You flick them and you have a good time, you know? It is better if you do know what you're doing, because then you can work with a little bit more precision. But really, as long as you're chasing around the other penguins, flicking into the other penguins, it's a big old game of flicky tag, essentially. You want to chase the other penguins and get them back into the class so that they learn. And then you all take a turn being the chaser and being the runner. Dexterity games, I think, lend themselves very well to this category because you don't really have to think. You just have to, feel. Even though BoardGameTables.com, All Play, do make great relaxing games, I think I'd have to hand it to ICECOOL, and so do the voters, because it's ICECOOL that moves forward in a 17-11 vote, although looking back now, Dandelions, oh no, Dandelions hasn't picked up anymore. Just kidding. It was ICECOOL this whole time. It was you. It's always been you. Move in with me to my perfect home now. Next up, we've got Welcome to taking on Super Skin Super Skin Pillball. That's what I was saying, and that's what it is. It's the Super Skin Pillball. It's what cannibals take for their medicine. In Super Skill Pinball, it's just a pinball machine. You're letting gravity do the rest. You start up top, and then it drops down and drops down. You're picking one dice, trying to keep your balls in the air as much as possible and for as long as possible. Welcome to, you're going to flip up 3 cards. They're all going to have a number, and they're all going to have a symbol. You're going to pick one of them and add it into your tableau. You pick a number and a symbol and smash them together. I think Super Skill Pinball is more relaxing. I find it a lot easier to play. Not a lot easier, but I don't think there's that much strategy, right? Whereas there's actually a little bit of strategy in hedging your bets and Welcome to, although both are pretty good. And so this one was really close, but it came down to a 14-13 vote, and it is Welcome to that moves on. Super Skill Pinball and Super Skin Pillball, both of them are eliminated from the competition. I think the cannibal contingent got confused. Moving along, we've got Dungeons, Dice, and Danger versus Herbaceous Sprouts. Now, I haven't played Dungeons, Dice, and Danger, but I've heard it's quite good. It's another roll and write game as you explore deep, dark dungeons filled with treasure and infested with monsters. That's all the BGG description gives us, so why should we care about it anymore? What's the back of the box say? It's German. Oh, it's German. No, it says the exact same thing. You have five dice. You're gonna roll your way through the dangerous dungeon. I suppose ticking off boxes. You know what? This looks like a game that my neighbor designed. He designed a little roll and write that was dungeon delving, and it was pretty fun. So maybe this one's pretty fun too. As you make your way through a bunch of different caves. Yeah, I'm on board with that. It's taken on Herbaceous Sprouts, where the objective is to become the head gardener by collecting herb and flower seeds and using your gardening tools to plant in the community garden and score points. You're going to collect your herb and flower seeds, which are your dice. You're going to place them in your wheelbarrow, which is over here where you can save them. And you can plant quickly for low point spots, or you can push your luck by saving the seed and trying to go for the high premier spots in the community garden, so that when you walk through the garden, you can laugh at everybody else's tomatoes, like Martha does to me. I'm doing my best, Martha. Yeah, I'm kind of torn. I think Floriferous, also by Steve Finn, would appeal to me more than Herbaceous Sprouts. I kind of like this idea of delving through a dungeon. That's one of the only roll and writes where I was thinking, yeah, you know what, I could do this solo, because you're just going on a little bit of a journey. And it is Dungeons, I always want to say Dungeon Dice Monsters, but it's Dungeons, Dice, and Danger that moves on in a 14-9 vote. Moving along to the other side of the bracket now, we have a Gentle Rain, which is just a one-player game where you're laying tiles down and trying to complete this little puzzle. That's it. You flip over a tile, you try to make it work, you make the game look beautiful. That's pretty much it. It's facing off against, honestly, the game that deserves to win this bracket. I don't even care. Incan Gold is so good. You can play this on BGG. Essentially what it is you're all breaking into this Temple of Doom. Although I don't like this newer version. I do like the other version of Incan Gold. I just like the art a little bit better. But you'll flip up a card and it will either have dangers on it or it will have gems, a certain number of gems. And those gems get divvied out to everybody who's the caves. And any excess gems get left on the cards. And if you choose to stay in the caves, well, then you can get more gems. If you choose to leave, you get to pick up the excess that's there and get the heck out of Dodge. Because if 2 disasters of the same type get flipped up, like this weird serpent and that weird serpent, well, then you drop all the gems in fear and you run out screaming. And so it's a push your luck game of seeing how long do you stay in, how long do you go for broke, do you get out early. There are also cards you can pick up on the way out that give you a bunch of points. It's really good. It's way better than a Gentle Rain. I'm sorry, Gentle Rain. I can see why you might be relaxing, but even when I look back at the votes, a Gentle Rain has 7, and Voidfall, a written-in Voidfall, had 8 votes, but it is Incan Gold that moves forward in an 11-8-7 vote. Moving along, we have Menara taking on Floriferous. This is what I was talking about. I think Floriferous should move forward. I haven't played it, but I just recently read the rules, and it's something that I really want to try. You're going to have these 4 columns of stuff, of flowers, essentially, when we get to a picture of the board. And you're going to put your marker down and take a flower, and everybody's going to do that in one column, and then you're going to do it for the next column. And however, wherever you are in the column determines the player order for the next round. So you're always going to get access to certain cards, but you want to hedge your bets of what is everybody else going to be picking up or not. Person who scores the most points wins. Menara is a game where you're building a tower. You got these lovely little poles. You want to build a tower without having it fall over. Each tower having a specific color that you have to put there, and you have to keep it all up so that it doesn't fall down. It's Jenga, but when you're working together, you're building the tower up instead of knocking it down. I would go for Floriferous here, but the masses disagree with me. It was very close, but Menara moves forward in a 13-12 vote. I think Floriferous just seems nice, but you know what? Maybe brain tired. That makes sense. If you're tired out, if you're burnt out, you have this tower. It's very simple. Dexterity, again, like ICECOOL, is a really good choice for this category because you get that tension. If you're tired, you're going to make a mistake, and then it's also fun. So yeah, I'm on board with Menara. Floriferous, you maybe have to calculate a little bit too much. I still think Floriferous looks really good, though. Next up, we have Lacuna, which is a 2-player abstract game taking on Lanterns, which is a 2-4 abstract game. Lacuna is a very easy abstract game. The rules are simple. You draw a line between 2 flowers. You place a little token down and you collect those flowers. That's all BGG is going to tell you, and that's pretty much all I know as well. You're trying to find those lines, get matching pairs, I think. And also, if your pawns are in the way, I assume that they block your opponent from creating additional lines. So you're trying to make it a harder board so that you can collect the most flowers and your opponent can't. I think it looks pretty cool. Lanterns is also a little bit about placement. You're going to place cards down, but whatever you place down is going to make you draw cards, and it's also going to make your opponents draw cards as well. You're sitting around as a grid, and so whatever you do, you want to be shifting these cards in your hands so that you can draw the cards that you want, and your opponents can draw the cards that will block them up, essentially. I think between these two, based upon the descriptions, I haven't played either, but Lacuna seems really simple. You're just drawing a line. There's a little bit of a tactical game. Comes with a cloth mat as well that rolls up and into the box. And you can spread it out. You can see how far the flowers are. Yeah, seems really, really intriguing. Lanterns, I've heard is just okay, and the description makes me think it's also just okay. I bet this 6.9 rating holds, and it is Lanterns that doesn't get the votes. It's Lacuna that gets the votes and moves forward in a very solid 18-9 vote. Now, next up we have Dice Miner versus Dominion. Dominion being the OG deck builder. You've probably heard of Dominion, and if you haven't, how did you even hear of this channel? You know this is a very ordinary deck builder, but because it is, it's fairly relaxing as well, because all you need to do is purchase silver. And that's it. And then you win. Who can purchase the most silver first? Should you buy a military card in the middle of that? Maybe, but you should probably just purchase silver and gold and speed run the end of the game. Conversely, we have Dice Miner, which also should win this bracket. Dice Miner is really solid. You're going to have this mountain of dice where you can just take from the top of the dice tray. Whatever you expose, your opponents can take it, and then you're going to roll those dice as well and get potentially things. You're looking to match symbols without getting disaster events, because those symbols can really chain and get you a lot of points. You're also looking to match sets of numbers so that you can score points with them, or runs. You can also, if you roll a little beard dice, you can get an extra roll, but you got to give it to an opponent. And so there's a nice flow of passing dice around and around. And over the course of 3 rounds, you're going to build up a really solid pool of dice. This one is great. Very relaxing. I think fits the theme. You're just chucking dice. You also have an asymmetric ability, which generally leans towards one of the resources. You're better with those resources, or you start with those resources essentially. And this one was a very close battle. It came down to a 15 to 14 vote when the votes were called. And it is not Dice Miner that moves forward, but people enjoy the relaxing nature of Dominion, especially that base game. You don't have as many things to worry about, just the buying and the card draw and the engine building. And so it is Dominion that moves forward in that 15 to 14 vote, unjustly, I would say. Next up, we have Azul taking on Grove. Not this Grove, the other Grove. A 9-card solitaire game, because somebody swooped in after Grove was made and just took Grove in 2022, which I think is a bit ludicrous. Grove seems like a pretty fun solitaire game. You're going to be laying down cards on top of each other, and if you ever lay like-minded cards upon like-minded cards, their numbers will increase, and your goals are to get the most fruitful supply of fruits, I guess. There you go. Who would have thought that? Azul, also, you probably should have heard of it by now. Azul's like the #1. Parents who don't like board games should try this game. I've introduced this to so many people who've never played board games before, and they really caught on to it. There's something about it being only 30 minutes of playtime. I think people really enjoy that, and it doesn't overstay its welcome, but it gives a nice, satisfying drafting experience, and it's pretty solid. I don't know what's more relaxing though, because like Azul's pretty cutthroat. Azul can be pretty brain burnery. I mean, it's in the World Series of Board Gaming, which you can go get your tickets at wspgvegas.com. Again, prove that I'm a good employee for them. So I would think Grove would be a little bit more relaxing because it is that solitaire experience, but at least you get to play stuff with people with Azul. And I've pulled out Azul and had a nice relaxing time with it as well, if you don't take it too seriously. I think Grove would be the one I would pick, actually, just knowing how competitive I can get at Azul. But it is Azul that moves forward in a 22 to 6 vote. On to the next one. We're almost at the end of this bracket, and then we're going to really ram through them once we all know all the games. We've established that as a baseline. Another solo game, we have Numbsters versus Go Goa. Go Goa. You go Goa, girl. Numbsters is a small little 18-card game where you're trying to eat. You want to eat all the other cards. You want to get down to one card. These cards eat each other, and they also have a special ability. So they all eat different Numbsters, and you want to get down to one card. Very similar to Food Chain Island, but just Numbsters, with those little Numbsters, you know? Go Goa seems like a nice game for burnout, because looking at the board, I'm already asleep. Really relaxing, right? Go Goa kind of gives similar vibes to French Quarter, though, in that you're going to roll 3 dice. So not at all, but you are moving. You're moving around. You're trying to explore the island. One of the dice is your direction. One of the dice is how many steps you move. And one of the dice is the number of deviations that you can take. And you want to divvy that out over your board. Everybody gets a chance to do that. And the person who gets the most points in 12 days wins. I mean, it's not going to be Numbsters. Look how cute these things are. I wasn't sold on Numbsters until hearing about it, and I think it's actually potentially a really slick game. Jeff McLeod thinks so. That's Jeff's first win, March 20th, 2023. Jeff's been playing this game since 1984, so it was a really monumental achievement for Jeff. It is Numbsters that's going to move forward in... Oh, no, that's not that horrible vote. 12 to 9 votes, so pretty close between the two, but I'm happy with Numbsters moving forward. And finally, we have Space Base. To finish up the bracket, we have Space Base versus Bounce Off. And I know what you're thinking. We'll get to Space Base in a second, but I don't know if you've heard about Bounce Off here. I've mentioned it once or twice on this channel. It hasn't really been in a deathmatch yet, but there's only, like, for me, really, there's only one real way to relax, and that's bouncing beautiful balls. You know, when I'm feeling stressed, I'm feeling a lot of pent-up energy, I just gotta bounce those balls right into that tray. I just love bouncing those balls. I'll bounce them all around the town. I'll bounce them here, bounce them there. I don't even mind sitting out and watching other people bounce their balls. A couple of my friends were over, and they just started bouncing each other's balls, and they had a 2-player bounce-off game, and I kind of watched, and when the balls got out of control, I just kind of swatted them back and you know, got them back in the ring. So I just find it really relaxing to bounce these balls, you know? I think people should try it. But honestly, I would love for Bounce Off to be in the competition, but its representatives did contact me. It's a little bit embarrassing. They contacted me. Bounce Off was a little bit tired themselves. They needed a break. They were so burnt out. They couldn't help you with burnout. They needed a break from all the fire. And so, unfortunately, Bounce Off has withdrawn from the competition and will have to bounce those balls another day or night. But it is replaced with something very fitting for this burnout match. We have Space Base taking on Burninating the countryside, burninating the peasants, burninating all the people in the thatch roof cottages! Thatch roof cottages! And the Trogdor comes in the night! It's Trogdor. You know Trogdor. He's burninating all the countryside. He's burninating the peasants. Trogdor, well, was a man. Well, no, he was a dragon man. Or maybe he was just a dragon. Oh, yeah. That's true. I guess I should get Strongbad to introduce this. Strongbad, would you mind? Oh, thank you, Chris. It's nice to be here. I got my boxing gloves. I've got my board game. And we're going to have ourselves a jolly good time. See, the thing about Trogdor is you and 5 friends, and maybe people you just paid to come over, take on the roles of these acolytes of the Burninator, each with their own unique abilities and the magical items. You're the acolytes. You want to make sure all the thatch roof cottages get burned. You move Trogdor around the land and, give him some stuff for punching and, maybe something different with his beefy arm. It's nice because they have the little wooden meeples, and it's a bit ironic because maybe they're gonna keep punching things. Oh, look at that dragon! That is a nice dragon. That's a really nice dragon. Yeah. Anyway, this is pretty much the best board game ever. You're running around and you're just burning everything to the ground. That's it. You want to make sure Trogdor burns everything. You push him around with the acolytes. You kind of decide where he goes, but Trogdor can't be really pushed around that badly. Wait a minute. This looks like a copyright infringement. This is more of an official printed play because Trogdor destroys every other thing. That's right. Yeah, I don't know why there's so many people printing and playing it. They should just purchase it from the store, the Brothers Chap. That's who made me. Well, I mean, my mother made me, but, you get it. Anyway, that's Trogdor. What's it up against? Space Base? Space Base, this is. I can't believe that's Space Base. Who cares? What are you, a spaceship? You're a spaceship, and your spaceships are getting better and better. Well, what are you? You're a spaceship, or you're 12 spaceships. It doesn't matter. Can you burn peasants down in their thatch roof cottages in fiery flames? Look at that. Look at that knight. He's trying to fight Trogdor, but nobody's going to take out Trogdor. Anyway, it's clearly that Trogdor's going to win this one because people were asking for it. Even though I look back now and Space Base is winning, no, it's not. Everybody used their extra vote to push Trogdor through to the next round. Trogdor takes it in a 16-15 vote. Take that, Space Base. Trogdor's in the game. Okay, I guess I'll come back when we have another Trogdor match because I'll take a break now. Maybe I'll go push Strong Sad in the mud. Oh, that doesn't sound very... Well, you shut up. You come here, Strong Sad. I want to give you a little present. Feels like a broken neck. Well, yeah, okay, I guess we're going to move on. We're into the round of 16. Thanks, Strongbad. No problem. We're into the round of 16, and we're hitting ourselves with the bye. Marvel United got the bye round, and honestly, I'm really not a huge fan. It's taking on Unlock. It's back in that. We're back in the round of 16. We can really ramp up the pace now. I'm not the biggest fan of Marvel United, but I actually think it is the perfect game for this category. Like, I would not want to play it unless my brain was mush and that of a little dumb idiot baby. Because Wow, Strongbet's rubbing off on me. Yeah, they're all dumb idiot babies compared to the dragon. I mean, you make a good point. Marvel United being that sense where you have to play a card and you get to chain with the cards of the one who just came before, and you only have to worry about 3 symbols. You have to take out that big baddie. I'm not going to show any pictures of the game because people just like painting their Marvel minis. I had my chance and I blew it. Yeah, you have all these cards, and you essentially only have 3 symbols in which you have to juggle. And so because you have 3 symbols, movement, punching, and heroic acts. Heroic acts and punching, they sound like they're the same thing. That's true. I mean, you're not wrong. But I've always found it to be a little bit basic and more of a family game, right? And because of that, I actually think it's a really good pick for this. It's a little bit lower complexity. It's got a 1.81 rating. So I think I would be okay if it moved on. I do like Unlock better. I would much rather play a game of Unlock than Marvel United, but you know what? If I'm really fried, I could go for Marvel United. And so it is Marvel United that moves on. Unlock loses. It dominated that first round against 6 nimmt, but it now loses to Marvel Champions in a 13-7 vote. Next up, we have French Quarter versus On the Rocks, shaking up those little marbles and sticking them in your drink, putting those marbles in your mouth, or using the different methods of walking and traveling around the city to optimize how much you can see and experience, hitting all of those special views that you wanted to see. Between this, you know what? I think I'm leaning towards French Quarter. I like the idea of On the Rocks, but I think French Quarter looked like a really slick roll and write. I remember it back when I was doing crowdfunding countdown, and it is going to beat On the Rocks just barely. Well, not just barely, because it also got the Die of Chaos, but it might have been just barely. Moves forward in a 15-10 vote. On the Rocks is eliminated to French Quarter, and I kind of agree with that. That's 1 for 2 for me. Next up, we have Arkham Noir taking on ICECOOL. ICECOOL is the one that would win for me if I was voting. I think the flicking feels very relaxing, and Arkham Noir feels a little bit complex for me. But then again, I am a dumb idiot baby. However, the Arkham and the solo contingent, I think, helps push Arkham Noir forward. I'm really surprised ICECOOL doesn't move forward here. It is Arkham Noir that's moving forward in a 14-11 vote. I think that's an upset. I think there's been a lot of upsets already. To be honest, all of the ones that I thought would win are pretty much out. But not this one. We have Welcome to versus Dungeons, Dice, and Danger. Actually, no, I thought Super Skill Pinball would be here because it's a little bit more relaxing. But between the two, I think I would opt for Welcome to now as well. Maybe it's just my familiarity with it, but I like that home building thing. Now I'm in the relaxing zone. You know, I thought Super Skill Pinball would have beaten it in terms of relaxation, but I think Welcome to takes the brain burner. Or least traveled area, and so it is Welcome to that moves forward in a 16-8 vote. Now we have our final new game that's entering into the match. We have Karuba taking on Incan Gold. Karuba, you're going to start with a board, and everybody's going to have to lay down a tile. The same tile, they're going to draw a tile, and you have to choose where to put that tile to create the most efficient puzzle of it all. You want to get your explorers to the temples, and you want to get them there faster than anybody. But the key about this is that everybody has that same setup. So everybody can play. See a huge group of people playing. You just call out the tile, you lay it down onto the map, and you take it out. I don't think this should beat Incan Gold. Incan Gold should win this whole competition. I'm telling you, Incan Gold is my pick to win. And this is a really close vote. I'm looking back. Although there's a lot of people who are undecided here, a lot of Die of Chaos, which means it's time for the Push Your Luck game to push their luck. Unfortunately, luck falls in favor of Karuba, and Karuba seems fun. It seems fun enough and pretty easy, right? Everybody's doing the same thing. You have that one choice, very similar to a roll and write. We're seeing the theme of this, of that like roll and write. Everybody gets to do something with the one thing. Those are seeming to move forward, and the simple card games of just drawing a card and seeing what happens, they're being pushed to the wayside. I think this is a big upset. I think Incan Gold deserve to move forward here, but it is Karuba that moves forward in a 15-14 vote. Now we have Menara versus Lacuna Matata. Lacuna again being that game where you're just drawing a simple line, simple as that. But you know what's even simpler? Drawing a line to the sky. That's right, with Menara, you're going to draw as many Whoa, look at that tower. Honestly, sorry, now that I've seen that, I'm kind of rooting for Menara to win. Although it looks like Lacuna is ahead in votes right now. It was a very close vote. But honestly, this being so impressive makes me happy that it fell the way it did. Menara does move forward in a 13 to 12 vote. Lacuna is out of the competition. And here we have kind of a heavyweight competition. We have Dominion taking on Azul. Which is the better game to play when you're burnt out? I think I gotta hand it to Azul here, personally. Dominion, you have all the potential combos. You at least have to process all the combos that you're gonna ignore, and you're just gonna buy silver. I'm sorry, it's silver. Just buying silver is better than anything you possibly could do. To an extent. I mean, you have to deviate once or twice here, but pretty much just buy silver and you'll win. Sorry for breaking and ruining the game for you. Well, but good thing you don't have to worry about it anymore, because all copies of Dominion are going to burn. Azul moves forward in a 14 to 11 vote. And I would agree with that. I think Azul is a bit less brain burnery because it's more simple, right? It's easy to learn, hard to master, some might say. Huh, that would make a good topic. Well, I guess we'll come back to that. Moving along, we have Numbsters. Look at these monsters taking on TROGDOR!
Oh, that's right. Move out of the way, Chris. I'm back. What are these Numbsters got? Whoa, I mean, those are some pretty scary monsters. But they don't have any beefy arms. No beefy arms. Oh, wait. Is that a beefy arm? That's a beefy tail. That's a beefy tail with a big X on it. Means that he's been punched by someone. Well, these monsters seem like they've seen a lot of battle. Oh, one is... Wait a minute. Is this some copyright infringement? Look at this. He didn't even add any consummate V's. No consummate V's, but he has the fire. What is it? What are these little rules under? You want to do math? You want to do math and figure out what's the best number to eat the other number? No. You want to burn down the thatch roof cottages. That's what you're doing here. Chris's voice may be getting a little bit tired, so we're just going to call it and say that TROGDOR moves forward. TROGDOR moves forward, dominating. Burninated, dominated, whatever you want to say. I got some numbers for you. 17 to 6. Let's move on to the quarterfinals.
Well, you heard it there first. TROGDOR moves forward into 17 to 6. Now we're at the quarterfinals with Marvel United taking on French Quarter. I told you we were going to heat up now. I don't know which way this is going to fall. I kind of feel like it's going to fall towards Marvel United here. I don't see the French Quarter being able to stand against the Marvel IP, and it really is just so simple that a golden retriever could play with you. But even looking back now, before extra votes were cast, French Quarter is really dominating this competition, and not enough extra votes were cast for Marvel United. So surprisingly, it is the French Quarter that moves forward in a 14 to 12 vote. That is very impressive. I kind of thought, like, my expectations keep getting shattered. French Quarter keeps smashing it in the face, and I understand why. It seems like a really slick roll and right. Let's see if it will be facing off against another roll and right, or if it will be taking on a solo game. We have Arkham Noir versus Welcome to. I mean, I've never played Arkham Noir. I don't know anything about it, and it's a solo game. Why would I want that? I want to build a perfect neighborhood so that Dolores can stop cutting down my prune trees. Okay? Just because they aren't up to code, Dolores, doesn't mean they don't bring me joy, alright? And here I could make my perfect neighborhood, where Dolores would be at the end of the street, without a pool. I mean, she'd still be here. She's a vital member of the neighborhood. I'm not a cruel person. It is Welcome to that takes out Arkham Noir, though, which I didn't know what was going to happen. Arkham Noir had a lot... Arkham Noir I thought should have been out in the first round, but Arkham Noir managed to stick until right now, but no longer. Welcome to is the one that comes out on top. We have two of our semifinalists. Now we're looking for a third. We have Karuba taking on Menara, and I think these are nice companion games. One's that simple stacking of the towers of either a giant Menara game or a very small child. And the other one, we have this efficiency of routes, moving your explorers to the temples in which they can discover glory and find fulfillment in their lives. I think it's a pretty neat idea. Very variable, that everybody can be set up in a different spot, that all the tiles are going to be drawn in a different way. I think it's pretty neat. I don't know which one I want to win here. I think dexterity games can only get you so far. You know, if I'm looking to unwind with a board game, I think dexterity games are a very specific breed. And so I think I might give it to Karuba here, I might go with the masses. It's pretty close, though, a pretty close vote. It came down to 14-11 for one of these two games, and unfortunately, Menara's tower topples. Oh, we can see what's going to happen. It's going to topple right after. I was looking for a chaos, a toppled tower. There we go. Let's just pretend that's the toppled tower, even though that's them playing midway through a game. It doesn't matter. It's Karuba that moves forward 14-11. Menara falls behind. And now we have a tough battle.
What? A tough battle?
Yeah, a little bit of a tough battle, don't you think?
What, you got a little tile there? Oh, boo-hoo. You're gonna make the tile, huh?
Strongbad, you seem to be struggling there a little. It seems like you have to be pausing a bit to cough.
Well, in my youth, I could do this voice a lot longer. Or maybe it's because TROGDOR provides no enemies. TROGDOR burns them down in a simple second.
Could be that.
I think it is. Everybody, put your extra votes on TROGDOR. The only way out is through. Burn down the burnout.
That's true. Azul tries to make a push. There were 6 extra votes thrown down on Azul, but there were 3 extra votes thrown down on TROGDOR. Luckily, TROGDOR had more votes behind it starting out, and it is TROGDOR.
Don't take away my glory. It's TROGDOR that moves forward. 20-19.
That's a pretty big gap.
Yeah, get this off the page. Give me some flames. Look at those cottages. I want to see them burn. Burninate, TROGDOR. Burn. Yes, that's a good image. Leave that one up there.
So there we go. Oh God. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Strongbad. I was choking on something.
Yeah, you were choking on the stench of defeat.
It was that. We're moving on to the semifinals. The semifinals, the final 4, we have Welcome to taking on the French Quarter, and then on the other side of the bracket, we have Karuba, and who could have seen it coming? TROGDOR.
Nobody, because you didn't put it on the bracket to begin with.
That's true, I didn't. It feels a bit cheap. You can change your guess right now if you want to change it to TROGDOR because you didn't know it was there, but only if your favorites are still in or if TROGDOR took them out. Which one of these will become the best game to play when you are suffering from burnout, when you just want to relax, when you don't want to think too much? One of these games will fit the bill. And one of them will be a roll and write in the finals. We have Welcome to taking on French Quarter. And I don't know what to do here. I feel Welcome to has had such a strong run, but I think French Quarter feels a little bit easier, a little bit more relaxing. You've got a few more tracks to go up. You don't have to worry about the orientation that much, but you do have to worry about how you move your dice and what hot spots you're going to hit, what houses you're going to hit over and over again. It's a tough call. I might go with Welcome to, but just because I know Welcome to and I haven't played French Quarter, it's, wow, when I look back, though, it is a tie. I wonder what happened when I was calling the vote. Looks like one of them got an extra vote in the midst of it to make it a tie, but a couple extra votes. But when the vote was called, one of these games was up 11-9. No extra votes were being able to be used, and it is the French Quarter that actually gets the win and moves forward in an 11-9 vote. Welcome to is out of the competition, and we only have on the other side, well,
get out of my way. Karuba, the little baby game for babies, taking on the only dragon with a beefy arm this side of the Midwest, TROGDOR. Did you ever hear the one about the adventurer going to the dragon's temple?
No, I didn't. What happened, Strongbad?
He burned to the ground! TROGDOR moves into the finals!
Really? I mean, I haven't even checked the votes yet.
Of course it is! I bet it was unanimous!
Well, it's pretty good. TROGDOR moves forward in a 17-6 vote. TROGDOR is just sweeping the competition here. Karuba is burned by the Burninator. All of these games trying to recover from burnout are just suffering more burning, especially because TROGDOR is adding a heaping help of fire to that cause. And we have our final. We have French Quarter, the roll and write, a relaxing underdog story that nobody saw coming, and then TROGDOR, the Burninator, the board game, ready to destroy
all of the thatch roof cottages. Come on, what's with this preamble? Nobody's gonna vote for French Quarter over TROGDOR.
I have to say that you might be right, Strongbad.
Of course I'm right. Trogdor took out Space. He took out Azul. He got his key sword Tar, and he hit a knight on the head, and he got some bagels. And he met the knight, and he said, "Hey, you want a toasted bagel?" And then he toasted the knight's head, and then he went over here, and he walked around, and the people praised him. What are you gonna do in the French Quarter?
It seems like nothing.
Yeah, you walk around now. It's stupid. Trogdor burns it. It's a piece of paper, flimsy. Trogdor burns it in a 19-3 vote. He took out Karuba. Trogdor, the Burninator. Let us all praise the glorious dragon with his big beefy arm. Oh, look at that big beefy arm. That's a nice arm. Yeah. Congratulations to Trogdor. Everybody celebrate. Oh, I love the celebration. That's a good celebration, people. Now make sure you go and... What is this? Why is Welcome To still on the screen? What was going on with that? With the thing? It's because you closed your friggin' stupid... There's Trogdor with his big beefy arm. There we go. Were your visual aids ruined because you closed it and you're on a different computer?
Yeah, I think they were. It doesn't matter. Trogdor is the one that moves forward. You saw the board game boxes flashing by the screen. Congratulations goes to Trogdor. Strongbad, thanks for stopping by and breaking my computer.
You're broken. It's like the Lappy. You don't do this on a Lappy, okay? You get a little bit of upgrade.
That's true. You make a good point, Strongbad. But that's it. That's it for the deathmatch. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Now, if you want to participate in the daily voting, you can sign up for Patreon. We do this over on the Room and Board Patreon Discord. But don't worry, I'll always do one of these recaps afterwards so you can see everybody can participate in the fun. And who knows what kind of crazy guests are going to stop by next time in our easy-to-learn but hard-to-master deathmatch. It's the games that feel very complicated strategically, but are very, very easy to learn. Similar to the Burnout, but a little bit different because you get that meaty, chunky decision space. So we're voting on that right now. If you want to participate in those, join the Room and Board Discord, Patreon. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. My name's Chris George. I don't have a catchphrase, but
nobody cares, because I'm a strong man.
I mean, that is true. I appreciate it. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you very much. Give me the spotlight. We'll see you in the next one.